Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some more Eberron today. So before we head round and say hello to all these lovely people, please check out the links coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord. We have a chat room basically, just for this game, and we'd love to hear what you think. Also, if you have missed out on anything, you can head over to Twitter and catch up on all of our shows, which we have put in playlists. Also, if you'd like to get into this show or one of our other viewer games, you can head over to Twitter and drop Scrat a DM and we will get you a game. Also, please check out the content warning for this game before we dive in. A huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Magehand Press. You will have just seen their Fey Folio before this if you were around for that. And they also created Dark Matter, which is basically D&D in space, which is a wonderful thing. And everyone should have it in their life. Also, the Deck of Many with the Deck of Many Things, the magic moving spell cards, and they have a Kickstarter coming out in May, which I am incredibly excited for. It's doing lots and lots of wonderful things, but one of my favorite things that I've seen, it's incredibly magical. Like the deck of many moving spell cards, they are now going to have a moving set of tarot cards that you can use in your game as well, and they look fab. So keep an eye out for that. They also created Humblewood, which is one of our viewer games here on a Thursday. Yep, a Thursday, just checking that there. It's lots of woodland critters trying to save the forest and compatible with D&D 5e. We also have Hero Forge. We have a show now on Wednesday. You might have seen it earlier today, where Scrat and I drink a lot of coffee and have a lot of laughs and getting creative with Hero Forge's new beta color system. It is so good with all the textures and everything like that, so please go check it out. And last but certainly not least, also Dungeon Fog. Whether it's for a campaign or a one-shot, it helps you build up your map and organize your notes on it along at the side. If you alter something on your map, it automatically updates your notes, so everything makes sense, which is great for a human being like me. Otherwise, let's go round. We'll say hi to everyone and tell us who you are. So we are going to start, as we always do, with the very lovely Hans. Oh, hi.
Hello, I'm here to be lovely as always, and just enjoying Alice's new mic. It's so fun. Also, I feel the life of the person who has to sit directly up against the microphone. Yes, that is fun. I'm playing Basil Vildaran. He's a half-orc sorcerer, and he's just here to have a good time.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we're going to hop down and say hello to Silvershade. Oh, hi.
Hello, I'm Silvershade54. I'm a source filmmaker artist on Twitter. Go by the name of Silvershade54. I will be playing the interesting character of Nui. He is a Warforged character.
And I will be using a voice modifier for him.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we're going to hop around and say hi to Commodus. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I am Commodus. I am a guy who does stuff on the internet sometimes. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Then we're going to head over to the very lovely Faye. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I'm very excited to be here today and to be playing with all of you. I'm going to be playing, as always, Cinnamon Isleleaf. Ouch, my cat is scratching my back.
A mood. That's a mood.
Who is an elf rogue who is 16 years old.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Wroat. This is the city that our wonderful Cinnamon and Basalt were headed in after leaving the King's Forest. And Wroat is the ancestral seat of all of the rulers of Breland. A city built on both sides of the Howling River, and at one point where it starts, at the point where the river itself starts to narrow. People are drawn to the tree-lined avenues, elegant drawbridges, the clean streets, the very sort of laid-back way of life here. And at the center, in the middle of this river, is a very small, rocky island surrounded by a military dock and a barracks. And this is known as Broken Blade Castle, and it is the King's Fortress. Here, the King's Dark Lanterns are vigilant. Anyone who tries to misbehave seem to disappear, almost without a trace or a whisper. Here are adventurers, Cinnamon and Basalt, are looking for Elder Fennec, who worked at the library, they've been advised can help them translate the diary currently in Cinnamon's possession. And we are at the gates of Wroat as we step through onto the main cobbled path, the huge sort of towering buildings. It's very different from Sharn. These buildings seem a lot older. They seem that there's the sort of the trailing leaves and plants and things like that hanging over sort of the balconies. You've got the big open shutters. And as I said earlier, the streets are lined with trees, benches. It's got a real different feel. It's a very serene place. And Tommen waves you all goodbye as he returns back to the forest to find his friends. And Cinnamon and Basalt, you are stood in this street, and the streets are cobbled. You can see carts going by. You can smell some very good food being cooked somewhere. It smells like, because it's me, it's going to be Noodles. There is a lot of sort of noodle stores and noodle bars and lots of hot food going on. It's not as busy as Sharn. The crowds aren't overlapping. There's not people bumping into each other. It's bizarrely pleasant. And what would you two do as you first enter Wroat?
Cinnamon, there's no chance at all that they're expecting us at this point.
Well, no, I don't think so.
I could eat.
Me too. I could always eat. Maybe we can get some more beer.
I don't know. Let's go see about those noodles.
Let's get Noodles. I do hope that people are nice here. They've been very nice up until this point.
The unusual forest with the dreams and things like that maybe was not as nice. But yes, I think everything here has been great.
I think Noodles are this way.
And we proceed in the direction Cinnamon indicates.
And you sort of see, as you approach, you sort of follow your nose, and there is this noodle bar. Sort of, it looks like part of someone's house at first, and it's just like attached, like how a conservatory is attached, with like a hot plate all the way around, somewhere to sit, and these huge, big, sort of dipped cast iron bowls that you can see. There seems to be some sort of magic that is allowing them to be swiveled up in the air and tossed and flicked. And you can smell and you can see these noodles and vegetables and different sort of meats going into them as they're sort of thrown into the air. You see a very smiley tiefling, very, very sort of dark blue skin, very small horns, and this sort of a big smile on their face, an apron down their front, and you suddenly notice.
I really would like those pillows back.
You see this moment where you can see. Sorry, I can hear Scrat laughing.
Scrat, please, you're distracting the party.
You can see these sort of wisps of magic, and you suddenly realize there is a small, very colorful gnome in very, very colorful gear, bright yellow sort of golden beard and hair, with throwing this sort of magic up into the air, sort of to flip these bowls. And the tiefling sees you approach, and she looks towards you with a big smile.
Hi, my name's Cinnamon. Nice to meet you.
And she sort of leans over because the plates are quite hot. She sort of guides your hand away from the hot plate. She's like, "It is good to meet you, Cinnamon. I am Kara. These are hot. I really need to get a label. Would you watch where you're throwing those?" As she sort of looks down at this gnome that's just doing his job. But she looks over to you and says, "Are you here for some noodles or some rice? What is it you would like?" And she sort of looks towards Basalt as well. "Is this your friend?"
Yes, This is my friend Basalt, and we would like noodles. Noodles?
Yes, definitely noodles.
We can do noodles. We have lots of noodles. And she sort of smiles. Please take a seat. Take a seat. And can I get you anything to drink before we even get started?
Oh, I tried beer once, and I really liked it.
How old are you, young lady?
21.
Now, okay, roll. I would say roll. I don't even know performance. If that's
Performance.
Be.
Oh gosh.
Can I also roll a performance to see if
Yes,
she
you can.
understand my nonverbal communication?
Yes.
I rolled a natural 20.
Okay, I'm planning on doing at least that
odds.
well. Hold on a second here. I gotta do this.
Oh my gosh.
She looks at both of you. Now, you see, I'm getting some very conflicting things here. Do you have ID? You know those things with the little sketch of yourself on them with the date of birth and where you went to school and stuff?
I guess Cinnamon probably has ID. Maybe she doesn't. She grew up in a forest. No, I'm gonna say she doesn't have ID.
So, then I cannot serve you beer. And she looks at you up and down because you definitely look like a 16-year-old. I will just get you some noodles for now, perhaps.
All right.
I don't want to get fired. You understand?
Sure. Basalt, why won't anyone give me any beer?
They must have a different tradition here in Wroat.
I guess. That's really strange. I mean, it's such a fun drink. Everyone should have it.
And you hear this sizzle as she's looking at you, throwing these things in the pot as this gnome sort of spins them around in the air as it gets hotter and hotter. Most people, when they hit 21, they have ID.
Oh, well, where I grew up, I don't think anybody had ID. It was kind of out remote, forest, we just all knew each other.
I'm afraid that's not how it works in a city, so if you want to, go a bit further, then you will probably... Do you know what? It doesn't matter. I will get your noodles, and we'll get something sorted. What can I get you to drink instead?
I guess I'll have water.
Would you like ice?
Sure. Thank you.
No problem. And she you see her sort of reach down, pour this glass of water, go, breathe over it, and you see the glass just frosts as she hands it over to you.
That is amazing.
Thank you. And you, sir, as she looks over at Basil.
No, thank you. I will be fine. I'll just have the noodles.
Just the noodles.
Yes, yes.
And she sort of watches you both as she very gleefully, her and this, you hear a little bit of argument, which what we'll call in the kitchen, where you hear this gnome and this tiefling have a little bit of an angry sort of conversation. But very, very soon, these two big bowls of noodles come over, and they look very aesthetically pleasing as well. And you have this huge bowl put in front of you, probably a little bit too much for one individual, but it's there. And she puts a straw in your water for you, thinking you're 16 years old. Just so you know.
I'm gonna start eating the noodles.
Yes, same.
Okay. So, we will pan over to our other two players. So, Kyle, describe what your character looks like and what your character's name is for me.
Yes, because I realized I didn't actually say that. So yes, I am playing Runthiel, who is a kind of just a very tall dragonborn male, about 6 feet, very obviously descended from a white dragon somewhere back there. And just in kind of casual clothes at this time. He's got his bag on his shoulder because he's staying in town, but he kind of got kicked out of the last place. So, trying to find a new place to stay now.
Okay, so you were walking along the street. It's quite warm today, and you have your Warforged friend next to you. And Silvershade, what does your character look like, and what is their name?
Well, I have Nui, who is, as you said, a Warforged. I'm trying to grab his backstory. He was forged for the sole purpose of a civil war between two small kingdoms, but during one of his battles, he was ultimately a bigger Goliath Warforged fell on top of him, and so he went into a kind of sleep mode until many years went by, probably about 10, until he was reawoken by a small group of dwarves that found the ruins of the battle. So now he's kind of roaming to find himself and find his lost masters. As the profile in the chat in the stream can see, he's a bit rusty. He's got a lot of leaf foliage and stuff. He looks very bent up, but he definitely has seen better days.
Awesome. And you're both walking through the city of Wroat. It is sort of just after lunch, kind of like late lunchtime, around 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It's coming up for that point. And there's a lot of people walking past. You can see other Warforged. They seem to just be, it's after the war now. There's a lot of them either going for manual labor jobs or because they are built for strength. You can also, the city is mainly human, but there are a lot of dwarves and elves here. The odd gnome here and there, but this is mainly, you see a lot of elves running some of these fabric shops off to the side with glamour weave, and all of these different things. But for the both of you, just out in front of you, you see this kind of wiry, oldish man. You can tell he's an elf by how long his ears are. They're very pointed, and they seem to be very, very long, and they've got you can see these little caps on the end of them as if they look like they've been knitted, where they're sort of hugging the top of the ears. He's got the very sort of white hair. He doesn't look frail. He still walks quite tall, but he's very lean. He's not, he looks to be maybe 6'2", something like that. He's dressed fairly well. It's nothing regal, it's nothing like that, but he's got a very wrinkled face, a long nose, and a small pair of round sort of glasses, tiny little round glasses that sit on the end of his nose. And he seems to be shuffling along. His arms are full to the brim with books. And at every single section, he's dropping something, things are trailing off and along. And he's sort of like here and there, he's got them, you can see he's got bags full of books, his arms are full of books. You're guessing that he's guessing where he's going. He can't really see where he's going, and you can hear that sort of, that old voice going, oh, no, I'll go, oh no, sorry, would you look where you're going? As he sort of like, you can see some kids run towards him and almost spin him all the way around, and you hear, sorry, Elder Finnick, as they sort of go tearing past, and you see one of them sort of collide with him, and this tower of books falls almost in front of you, and you see him look down. He's like, oh, here we go again. Also, thank you, chat. I don't know why I'm still doing it in this voice, but thank you, chat. Cinnamon, anything flammable that you touch is going to burst into flame for a bit.
Interesting.
And you chose to be near hot pans, so we're going to see what happens there in a minute. But
I have a bad feeling about that.
Runthiel and Nui, you see this elderly gentleman, these little caps over his ears, sort of sigh, almost pushes glasses back up his face, and he looks to both of you like, he sort of looks you up and down, sort of side. He even walks around you both and looks at you. How do you fancy helping an old man out? You both look like strong lads.
You certainly look like you need a hand, sir. Let's...
Nui's already at it. He's already grabbing, suggesting, grabbing some of the books, just...
Requesting permission to acquire the books.
Oh, no, yes.
Sir.
That would be delightful if you could just, scoop up whatever it is that you could scoop up. I'm headed over to the library, you see. And I say frail old bones. I mean, I'm old for an elf. that's saying something. So if you could gather up and follow me, I can offer you lunch. If that
sounds
is...
excellent.
I'm very good. I've been told I'm very good at lunch, and by that I mean my wife packs a fantastic lunch. So if you would like to follow me, she runs a fantastic noodle bar, and she hires the best people. So I tend to get the leftovers from the day before. So if you would just follow me, and he sort of starts to shuffle along this street. And
Nui is half tempted to just pick up the old man and walk him along with the books.
He may fight you. He has a stick. He has this. You can see this staff. He has this staff that you can hear sort of clacking on the ground, sort of half helping him walk, half. It seems to be almost of significant value to him, not monetary. But he starts to lead you down the side of this path as you are all carrying these books. And these are a real mix of big books, small books, some as big as your head. But they're very, very dusty, and they're very, they smell like... Do you know what I mean by an old library? That sort of dusty smell, that old book smell as you're walking along.
I don't think Warforged have a sense of smell, do they?
It depends. If they're enchanted, they might be able to. But
maybe, perhaps.
Back at the noodle bar, Cinnamon, you are how does Cinnamon eat noodles? Is it with chopsticks, or is it with a fork, or how does she do it?
Yeah, I think with chopsticks.
Yeah.
Just very loudly slurping, by the way.
Best way.
Yeah.
And how does Basalt do it as well? What is the contrast here of you two eating?
Same with chopsticks, but with gusto. It looks like one of those animes where you see a whole bunch of boys in the lunchroom, and he's just got the bowl up and he's eating like this. It's very fast. He was done a while ago.
Yeah, you actually watched the tiefling
like Naruto, those Naruto scenes with that noodle shop.
I think that's appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got the tiefling is watching you both in awe and happily that you're liking the noodles. But Cinnamon, as you're sort of doing that, you're in such a hurry, you go to reach for your glass of water, and you just about. There's that moment where you hear the tiefling go, "No, it's hot!" as you accidentally reach forward towards the hot plate. You don't feel a thing, but the whole hot plate and all of the pans just vroom as they go up, and you hear somewhere this gnome scream. You know he's fine because he runs away, but he is running as your hand is glowing that purple from that mark. The tiefling is sort of there with this tea towel, trying to flap it down and throwing these sort of glasses of water and getting this sort of water thing that comes out and tipping it all over. And soon it does go out. But she rushes over and says, are you okay?
Yeah. Basil, did you cast a spell?
I'm really very sorry about that. Sometimes I lose control of what I'm doing. That's my fault.
You know this is flammable stuff. We have oil here. It's a hot. It's literally called a hot
Yes, I'm
plate, but
sorry.
it's no. It's fine. Sort of looking at both of your faces, just like it's fine. It's not a problem. Well, I'm sure it's fine. It's she's there like just patting out the last of it at the side as she's trying to get it off where her apron is caught a little bit. You see her tail sort of whip forward and try to pat out this little bit that's singeing on the top of the gnome's head that he hasn't quite noticed yet.
This is why Basil has the mending spell, by the way. So maybe I could just reach out and go like, let me just get that, and ding.
And he's like, get what? And so he sort of looks up and doesn't see anything. He's like,
Was there something on my head?
Nope, nothing at all now, no.
What do you mean now?
and the tieflings try to like shuffle him off, like it's nothing. You go and start firing up the hot plates again.
And
she
Basil
sort of
touches the burnt
shovels him
part of the
over.
counter and gives it another ding real quick.
And it just sort of, it's like that sort of black and burning sort of searing just slowly folds away. And you can sit there and you eat your noodles, and it's very pleasant. It's very, very enjoyable. And Cinnamon doesn't set fire to anything else yet. So you can sit there and you enjoy what you are eating. However, as you sort of come to the ends of your bowls, you hear the tiefling again yell a name that you recognize, one that Tommen said. Say, Oh, Elder Finnick, your wife has more. She's got me some more stuff to give to you. And if you sort of swivel round on your stools, you see this very elderly man, this elf, very long ears, little knitted caps on top of his ears. That salt and pepper hair, standing quite tall, very big with a staff. He's like, well, hello, Kara, as he sort of shuffles over, and you see her produce these 2 boxes of noodles. And with him, stacked high with books, is a Warforged and a Dragonborn. And stacked high with books. And he turns around and is like, you see, lads, I told you, lunch! As he sort of starts to walk away back towards this Warforged and Dragonborn.
Basil, was his name what I thought his name was?
It was an Elder Finnick. Was that what?
Isn't
Yes?
that the man who's supposed to be able to help me read this journal?
That does sound correct.
I think we should go say hi to him.
I mean, we're finished with lunch. I'll just pay and then off we go.
Yeah, that tiefling is like reaching out as you do before you disappear.
Thank you for lunch. It was delicious.
Thank you.
No
Sorry.
problems.
Sorry about the
Sorry.
No, just stay away from hot things.
Okay.
It's good advice, really.
I think Cinnamon just like makes a dash for Elder Finnick.
If you're dashing up to him, he sort of goes, "Oh, good lord. Okay, yes. As you're like, are you like up close?
Yes,
or-
like just like
Is it-
running straight up to him.
How tall are you again?
She's short. She's like 4'11".
Okay. He sort of goes, "Oh, you lost, child."
Oh no. Hello. I heard that your name is Elder Finnick. Hello. Nice to meet you. My name is Cinnamon.
Oh, gosh, yes. And he sort of reaches out and shakes your hand. You feel very weathered hands, like very wrinkled hands, but they're so soft. And he's just like, "Oh, yes. That you're quite right. That is my name."
And nice to meet your friends. What are your names? And I think like Cinnamon like does the whole about to shake their hands, but realizes that they're holding, like a huge stack of books and can't possibly shake her hand.
And Elder Finnick turns around and says, "That's a good point. That was very rude of me. What are your names?"
I just kind of lean my head around the stack of books. I'm Runthiel, and hi. This is a lot of books.
Oh, do you need help? I can help you.
Oh, you're energetic.
That would be lovely.
And she takes, I guess, the upper half of the books.
Nui kind of holds his books with one hand, and he was going to go and shake, but now that Cinnamon's got 2 hands worth of books in her hand, he kind of just retracts his hand.
I'm Nui. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you. This is my friend Basalt.
Hello.
Hello.
So, this is your friend. And it's a pleasure to meet you. Basil, was it?
Yes, hello. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yes.
Nui is wondering why basalt is named after a type of rock, and why cinnamon is named after a spice.
Because they're salty and sweet.
Someone please taste the rock and find out if it's salty, I guess.
You have that moment where Finnick looks at you and says, no, Giles, you did know my name. And
Yes.
you move very, very quickly. And can I help you with anything?
Yes, we met your friend, Tommen.
Hey, Common. Yes.
On the street, on the way here to Wroat, and he told us that you would be able to help me with something going on. You see, I accidentally, kind of, sort of, maybe, joined a cult. Shift my books to one hand, show him the mark on my hand. And, well, I joined a cult, see?
And he looks at Basalt. He says, was this under your supervision?
I was in a different room, I believe, at the time. There were quite a few things happening at that party.
Right. And now, Giles, you don't go and join cults willy-nilly. It's not something you do. How old are you to be joining a cult?
21.
Performance check.
Oh, God.
If you get another.
Oh, God.
Never mind. Yeah. He looks you up and down. He's like, I really wasn't born yesterday. I'm actually 835 years old, so no.
16.
Nui doesn't buy it either.
So what enthralled you to join a cult? I mean, I remember when I was 16, I think I do, and I don't remember having that option.
Well, it wasn't like I did it willingly. It was kind of a, join or we'll kill you kind of
spontaneity.
thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right. So anyway, I was hoping to get your help.
With the cult, and he sort of reaches forward and looks at your hand. He's like, what
Cinnamon
are
is
you
now,
messing with?
She's like teetering books now.
Yeah. The organist is like, why are you messing with Scratticus? Is this like a fan club thing, or is this the purpose thing?
Well, maybe not so much with the cult. There's a journal. Basalt, can you... I don't think I'm getting my point across.
Did you want me to take the books, or were you hoping I would explain the situation?
Maybe both? And
All right, well,
hand
let me start with that.
to
And now Basalt has one bad knee, so he is now hobbling fairly badly because he can't hold his stick and all these books. So with all that going on, well, you see, it was a very long, very spontaneous story where she was at a party and there was an enormous threat, some sort of shadow monster, which I suppose is Scratticus, and was taking over and kidnapping everyone and turning them to stone. And I think Cinnamon was given the option, turn to stone, join the cult. Frankly, I'm proud of her decision.
That seems reasonable.
Can Nui go to grab Basalt's half of Basalt's books?
Oh yeah, you can definitely catch them effectively, or just move them very swiftly out of his hand. And Finnick sort of looks
Let
at...
me get those.
Thank you, yes.
You're welcome.
And Finnick looks over at Basalt. He's like, I mean, it is better than being turned to stone. Anyway, I'm headed to the library, so if you would like to come with me that way, we can sort out whatever this is. When I'm sat down, I have been on my feet for over an hour and I'm knackered.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, the library probably would be a great place because I actually have this journal that I was actually supposed to get before, but then I didn't get until after I joined the cult. And it's got a lot of stuff that I just don't understand in it.
Like an initiation sort of thing?
No, I don't think so. I don't really join cults every day. I don't really know how things are supposed to work.
Some don't do it at all, but you're 16 and I've already done that. But anyway, let's go. And he sort of starts to shuffle. He's like, come on, lads, as he sort of indicates with his staff and towards Runathiel and Nui as he starts to march. And I say march, it's a very slow march, but there is a march down this street. And as you go, people stop and say hello to him. He seems to be fairly well known here. You see another very old human lady sort of hand over and pass him what looks to be like two more of these little ear cap things, these homemade knitted things. These ones seem to be in different colors. And he's just very smiley, takes them, gives her a bit of a hug, and he leads you all over this huge bridge, over the main part of the river. And this bridge is solid stone. It is carved with these two sort of fearless warriors at the edge as you head over the Howling River. And the other side, you can see on the water where the barracks is, where all of these ships are coming in, but is this huge, impressive structure. It's got these sort of towering, towers that go up to the sky, and you can see the gulls sort of circling overhead as you can hear them, and very, very grand marble steps and this huge wide door as he very sort of slowly with his stick goes up the steps and leads you to the main door. And these doors are about maybe 9-10 foot high, and he pushes the first one open and it creaks heavily, and that bit of light goes through and you see a heavily tiled floor. And I've just realized we're taking Cinnamon into a library. And everything is combustible in a library.
You just realized that?
Yeah, I've literally just realized that. I was like, oh yeah. But you step into this library. You can see a very, very small halfling sat at a desk on a very tall stool at the other end, who smiles and waves to let you in. And you are surrounded. She gives you a very excitable wave back. She puts her finger to her lips, but she gives you a very excitable wave back. And you step into this huge hallway, and it is lined with books all the way up to the curved ceiling. You're not too sure how they're staying in there, in fact, but it is books all over, all the way through. And I'm gonna punch my mic again. And as you step through, there's a couple of tables, there's some people in here, but he's like, this way, and sort of shuffles over to a fairly large office, which he opens the door and guides you all in. And there are even more books in here. A heavy desk piled up with papers all over the place. They don't look categorized or anything like this. You can see a very, very tiny drake sat in the corner on a perch, just sort of eyeing you up as you walk in. Its green scales sort of watching you go as its eyes flick backwards and forth. And he sits down and gestures to all these chairs that they aren't free. They have loads of stuff piled up on them. And he looks at you and says, grab a chair, then we'll tuck into this. And he sort of takes the books off of everyone and thrusts this box of noodles both into his newfound dragonborn and warforged friend. And he's like, I don't have enough for the two of you. That's a problem.
I cannot consume food. It's fine. My dragonborn friend can have the rest.
Works for me.
And it is this massive thing of noodles. It is just a pile up of noodles. And he sits down and says, so, what can I do for you?
Well, I have this journal.
Oh gosh, yes, you said, didn't you? Hang on, let me get my other glasses. And he opens up this tray behind him, and there's over 100 pairs of glasses in here. There's a mixture of different colored lenses, larger lenses, smaller lenses, and he picks out this massive pair. They're very round, very circular. They magnify his eyes as he takes them and looks down at the journal. He said, this is very old. How did you come to acquire this?
Well, after I joined the cult, I woke up and I had a package.
You just like that? Is that how delivery works where you're from?
Well, I'm not from Sharn, so I don't really know. But I just assume that that's how it works when you join a cult. Is that not how it works when you join a cult? Basil, do you know? Maybe our new friends know?
This is a little bit different from a cult. I've never actually been part of a cult.
No, me neither.
I have no knowledge of cults. Sorry.
Right. And he sort of looks around. Sorry, Runethil, were you going to say something?
No, I'm good.
And there's this moment where he sort of flicks through the pages, and they're very, very old. They're very yellow-brown sides. He's like, well, I haven't seen this spoken about for a while, but it is, as he sort of trails his finger down the side of the pages, it refers to, it tells of an island that floats. And hang on, I have a book on this somewhere. And he sort of swings round in the chair and pulls off this massive heavy book, opens it. You feel the thud on the desk as it does, and he puts the journal on top. He's like, yes, no, this is a thing. This is the thing. This is saying, as he sort of puts his finger across the words and starts to read it out to you. It talks of an island that floats in the sky, and it has a trajectory. It goes across the land, but it only circles every 6 years. And apparently, and he sort of flicks the page over, and you can see this drawing. There's an observatory on it, and oh, that's interesting. And he sort of looks over again. It is. Oh, that explains it. It seems to be protected by something that technically shouldn't exist. A giant warforged. So, this is probably the fabled Cannith hideaway after the war. What on earth are you doing looking for that?
I didn't realize we were looking for that.
Oh, well, you are, I think.
Does it say how we can get there in the journal?
No, but there are a lot of references. We'll have to go into the restricted section to find some of the maps and the Hujama-Watsits, to line it all up.
Can we go now?
He sort of reaches over and pulls out a mug of tea and starts drinking. You're not too sure where he got it from. It might have been there from the day before. And he sits there and starts drinking. He's like, I'll just finish my tea. If I forget it again, it's going to be really cold. So I'm just going to... And he sits there and you can tell he's actually watching Runethiel to see if Runethiel's finished his noodles. More than anything else. Have you finished eating?
I just put down the first box, put the other one in my bag, and pat it.
Well, then I could use your help. The book itself is quite big, and
Certainly.
yes, both of you, if you could both follow me. And he shrugs off his long coat that he's been wearing, and sort of rolls up his sleeves and very upright starts walking out of the office. And do all of you follow?
Yes.
Yeah, I follow.
Okay. You head through this. At first, it seems to be like a maze of a library. It's just books everywhere. You can see lots of people seem to be in here. They're all quiet reading or looking for something. You see Elder Finnick sort of wave here and there and give him a smile. And you see him adjust his little ear caps as he switches over to the ones the lovely elderly lady gave him. And he walks over to this huge section in the marble floor, and it's completely quiet. And you hear him, this slightly heeled boot. He clicks on the floor, and the huge pattern starts to move as you see this light radiate through the sections of the tiled floor. And it starts to, the pattern itself, you see it sort of dip at different levels as it starts to form a staircase down. And he looks at you. Come on then. And starts to head down. And
That's a heck of a staircase.
how would you like it? It's been here since I can remember.
And considering you're as old as you are, that goes back quite a ways.
Oh, yes, he sort of looks at you at the moment, realizing how old you called him, as he sort of like glances towards you. Like, "No, I'm not that old, but I guess older than the And he sort of grumbles and trails off.
It is still a very impressive staircase.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And he starts to walk
Trying to
down.
save the discussion about his age. Just still a very impressive staircase, nonetheless.
And he starts to walk down, and this is a very dark path, but as you go, there seem to be like these crystals on the wall that light up, just giving a dull light, nothing too dark, nothing too bright, sorry. You don't see as many books down here. Here and there, this is the ones that, the old stuff, kind of don't want to keep them in the sunlight too long, fading, trying to preserve them as long as possible, kind of thing. And you can hear that echo of all of your footsteps as you walk down these stairs. And it's about a 3-4 minute walk to the bottom as all of these move. And as your feet touch the bottom, you hear that movement of that crunch as it starts to close up again. And you're stood in a very dull lit room. A huge pair of iron gates stand opposite you, open, chains sort of across the side into a sort of a very dark tunnel. And he's like, oh, they're supposed to be closed. That's odd. And he sort of rummages around. He's like, "Do I have the key?"
Also, Elder Finnick, did the staircase just close behind us?
Yes, all you have to do. And he sort of walks over to this part in the wall and slams his fist against it, and you can see it start to open again as it starts to spin and move. He's like, "So if you need to leave at any point, just knock there, and it'll open up."
I'm sure the 800
Nui's
plus.
taking note of where, just in the off chance that something happens.
I'm sure the 800 plus year mechanism is totally going to function all the time.
No, nothing like old classic mechanics, okay? It's not got any of this fancy new stuff that just makes things more complicated. Don't you think?
So you say the gate has been left open?
Yes, I do remember closing it. At least I thought I did.
would anyone else have come down here?
No. As he sort of pauses and looks at, you see, I have the key. And I'm the one who is charged with looking after the books down here. There's some very sensitive, old, ancient, very precious material down here. And, you know, sometimes we have to clean out the dust mites that come in and wreak havoc.
Make it sound like the dust mites are bigger than regular dust mites.
Oh, no, they're not. There's just a lot of them.
So no one else should be down here?
Technically, no. Unless Mrs. McCree came down here to just... Mrs. McCree! As you hear it echo down this sort of chamber.
Who's that?
Mrs. McCree. Oh, she's a delightful woman. She helps me catalog. That's what I haven't seen her for a while.
But normally she would respond if you...
Yes, she would. Very young, very sprightly, is only 400 years old.
But it is unusual for this to be open.
Well, I mean, I've forgotten and left it open once. I just very much remember closing it this time. It was a great time when I accidentally locked Mrs. McCree in. She didn't forgive me for days.
Understandable. But you haven't seen her in a while. And the door is open.
And the door is open. She could leave as she wants. Well, there's some precious things in there. I'm gonna go and have a look.
How about I go in front of you just in case of weirdness?
If you so wish. Please don't touch anything. As I said, there's a lot of very old documents here. We are in the process, Mrs. McCree and I, of copying down and making doubles of many.
You see, like, Cinnamon's hand was just like, oh.
And don't worry about the ones on ropes. Just don't touch them.
Oh. Okay.
They bite.
Sorry. The books bite.
This is a very much interesting Fey enchantment, you see. It's to stop anyone else from reading them. They fight back. Like diaries and things like that, you know, it's one of the great mechanisms that you put on these things. Diaries are very personal things. I'm actually quite shocked to see he sort of picks up the journal. I'm surprised this one didn't have anything.
No, just let me open it.
I will very carefully not touch it. Just put my hands in my pocket and just slowly walk forward.
Okay. You step into this. It's kind of you feel the temperature drop because it's underground, and you also have that moment of you can hear that trickle of water, and the sound of the actual city itself starts to fade away. And as you do, you can hear that water dripping from the top of the ceiling. It seems to hit this almost like magical field protecting some of the books. But you can see that the Howling River is sort of almost like a channel running beside you. It's pretty thin. It's not like a wide river or anything like that. It almost looks like it's being directed out of the library, probably for like flooding causes or anything like that. But you have these just reams and reams of books. Some of them are tied. Some of them are just sat there normally. Some of them seem to be in protective casings. as you walk deeper and deeper into this tunnel. And as it does, it sort of opens up and the river runs down the center. You can easily hop over this part of the river. It is literally a small water channel. As you head down.
We don't need any of the biting books, do we?
Oh, gosh, no, I don't deal with those. Mrs. McCree has a very long stick, and she deals with those.
That sounds like a complicated kind of job.
Well, it's not...
It'd be like handling a wild animal.
It's not too bad. You see, the stick has this little thing that she's stuck on the end of it, and it's like got a little hook, and sometimes you can appease them with the right thing. Sometimes they bite the hook off.
I'm glad my job is much more straightforward than that.
What's your job?
Until recently, I was working with the town guard, and now I'm not.
Why not?
A variety of reasons, but mostly philosophical.
Philosophical? Are you a well-read man, Mr. Runethil?
I've never seen quite this many books, but I have at least read 2 books.
Oh, fantastic. Any particular favorites?
The first one.
Fair.
It,
First book I read was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it.
Where I come from, the Warforged aren't allowed in the libraries.
Well, welcome to your first library. You can rent the books here, just not on this level. Have you ever read a book before, Mr. Nui Warforged?
I can't say that I have.
Well, I know a fab few that I can pick out for you after this, if that is something you would like to try.
I would be happy to. Thank you.
Absolutely. There's some great illustrations of Shan and the mythical creatures up on the level 3.
I do have a fascination with nature and animals and such. I did see a lot of mythical creatures on my way here. They were very fascinating.
Well, we have a book on squirrels, and it's, there's a wide variety of squirrels in the King's Forest. But anyway, we'll get back to that later. This way, if we could keep moving, and Runethil, are you still in front?
Yes.
Okay. Could you please make me a perception check?
Yes. Haha. That should go. Yes.
Let's have a look. 19. Okay. On a 19, Runethil, you are looking at some of these books. It's not pitch black down here. It's like you've got that dull light from these crystals that are sort of here and there. And there's a moment where you see a very soft blue glow. And in the dark at first, it looks to be like it's hovering. It sort of moves very gently and then disappears down one of the sort of sections of bookcases.
Does Miss McCree use a pale blue light down here?
I don't know. We normally just go by the lights that are already down here. Why?
Because there's a light that is moving.
Moving?
Yeah.
Where? And he sort of like looks around.
I just kind of lean and point him towards the hallway.
And he sort of shuffles forward and looks down the corridor. And you can look down the same sort of, when I say corridor, it's between all of these bookshelves. And there's nothing there.
Is that unusual? I know you said you had biting books, but do you have moving books?
I mean, I didn't see anything. I know people who don't normally dwell down here can see things every now and then. We have known some of the images to jump out sometimes, which is rather fascinating. They don't normally go further than the book, though. They sort of stay attached to it. They don't wander off.
Is this something we should be worried about, what with the open door and...
No, I'm sure it's fine.
Okay.
In all of my many years here, I've never encountered... And he sort of pauses, and like, as if he's trying to think. I don't think I've ever encountered something particularly bad. As I said, it's probably dust mites.
That... All right. Your library.
Well, actually, and he sort of walks like down the corridor and says, actually, did you know it is actually in the possession of the kings and the rulers of Breland? It's a fascinating thing. And he starts to like relay off the history of this library to you in every detail for all the 900 years that he has known it. It's as he keeps on going for a while.
Well, we have some filler while we get to our destination in this place.
And as he does, you head down to this corridor, this library, this section, and there's a small sort of wooden door at the end, which he sort of fumbles about with a set of keys, and he puts the key in the lock, and he turns, and you hear that heavy click, and he opens and pushes it open. You hear it creak. You see a lot of dust sort of fall off the top, and it opens up into this huge room which is just lined with scrolls and maps and things, you know, reaching as far as the eye can see. And he's like, right, okay, we need to find a very specific map in particular. And he sort of pulls this ladder along and starts to climb these, looking for these maps. Would you like to do anything whilst he's doing this?
Can I help you with that at all?
Yes, I'm looking for map 357 85 AB squared. There's this funny little squiggle here. I'm not too sure what that is. And then this big circle here. And it should have a green ribbon around it.
Is there any sort of filing system here?
That is the filing system.
Would you like to point me at a place and I'll grab things for you?
Yes. If
Excellent.
you could go down that end, and he sort of points down to the other end of the room. It's it's more long of a room rather than a wide room, and he's like, just down there. And you can tell it goes further back, like there's rooms and shelves of these things. Is there anything the rest of you would like to do?
I think Nui's gonna he's gonna take what Ronthil in, because he heard that he saw something, so he's gonna kind of keep his eye out and look around for something similar.
Okay.
He's kind of on the watch.
Awesome. And how about Cinnamon and Basalt?
Cinnamon, we really should make some effort to look for this ourselves, don't you think? I mean...
Yes, I think so. I just don't know any of the things that came out of that man's mouth.
I think anything with a green ribbon has a good chance of being the right thing at this rate.
Okay, that part I did understand, yes. All right, green ribbon. Looking for a green
Possibly
ribbon.
in the same direction that the Dragonborn is going.
But if he's already looking there, I should look somewhere else, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
Ignore my logic. I'm a little bit fuzzy.
My general impulse is just to grab something and see if it's the right thing.
Sorry, go on, Cinnamon.
Oh, I was going to say, can I just grab the nearest scroll that has a green ribbon?
Okay. Could you all roll me a perception check, please?
Oh boy,
Uh-oh.
if I don't get to roll something. I assume that was it.
Okay.
You have to add a d4 on top of this, so luckily it's already terrible, but hey, a little bit better.
Hey.
Perfectly average.
Okay. So, you first of all, Cinnamon, you grab the first green scroll one you can find. It looks fairly new. There's like a gold thread running through it. As you do sort of open it, and it seems to be a diagram. It looks almost like, the equivalent of the Vitruvian Man, but it's a warforged. So it's this huge thing. It's a very impressive sort of work, and you can see it's got the House Cannith symbol at the top. And Basalt, you sort of look through, you're pulling out things. You're pretty sure that you've pulled something out which looks like is Mrs. McCree's shopping list. Maybe it was left here by accident and she's tucked it into another scroll. The scroll itself seems to be part of the history of the library. Our lovely Dragonborn has, you've sort of looked around as well with the Warforged. Both of you are looking. And you're pulling back and you can see more. As you pull one scroll out, you see many more going all the way back as these different shelves go through. And you pull one out, both of you together. This one's very heavy. And it takes two of you to take it out. It's lots and lots of this sort of paper wrapped up. And as you do, you can see the label on it. The label that was said, and also the branding of House Cannith, as if it's not been opened. And it's got that huge wax seal over the top of it.
We might have found it.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
And
Let's... Go ahead.
As I say, as you do, you can see Elder Fennec is up at the top of a ladder. Not very high up, but quite high up for him. And he sort of pulls a scroll out himself as he's pulling it back. And Cinnamon, you sort of like have to look up and move as he sort of drops it behind you almost, as it is quite heavy. And you notice him sort of look where the scroll was. Oh, well, that's curious. And you see him get dragged and almost sucked into the side of this bookcase. Where the scroll was, he disappears through it.
Oh no.
To the other side. You know they go all the way back, and you hear him yell. And as you do, you hear a sudden sort of crashing and banging of these shelves falling over, starting to collapse, these papers falling. And I think that is where we will take our break before we dive into that. So, everyone...
To be continued.
Yes, to be continued. So, everyone, go grab a drink, go grab a bar, stretch your legs, tell your pets you love them, and we will be back in a minute. See you in a minute.
You know what? I'm gonna go tell my cat I love them.
Okay, so there's this moment of the clatter of all of these bookcases, and these stacks and stacks of paper start to tumble and fall, and you can hear Elder Finnick screaming after you as this happens, and they sort of crash down, and it's sort of like just a wave of everything going down. There's a flurry of paper that is thrown up into the air. You can see what looks like this blue flash, particularly Renethil, you recognize this blue flash, and it's this bizarre swirl, almost entanglement of, at first it looks like vines or string, but at the center is this swirling, almost like blue light where the face should be. There are no limbs or anything like that, but you can see it. If you would like to do a history check or arcana check, you can try and find out what this is.
I am trained in neither of those. So
if anyone else wants to do it as well, I was going to say,
can do a
you can all see
check.
it.
I have a history of +3, so
Because you can all see this thing.
am I allowed to roll a history
Yeah, go
check?
for it. Whoever wants to roll a history check, roll a history check.
What was the other choice, Alice? Was it Arcana?
7.
History or arcana. Okay. So, our Warforged and our Dragonborn, you sort of look towards this thing, and it's almost like it's on the tip of your tongue. You don't know what it is, but it's almost like it's mesmerizing you as it's being pulled. It is pulling Elder Finnick through these bookcases as they're crashing back. The other reason you don't quite catch it is because you notice there is something else that this thing is dragging him towards. And Cinnamon and Basalt, you sort of pause and you look at it, and for different reasons you've heard these things spoken about, again, almost like in fairy tales, like in children's books, of the Dalcure, which is the dreamscape. So these things shouldn't necessarily exist, but it isn't a Dalcure itself. This exists on the plane of dreams. It's this sort of dark power, this it's like you have the name on the tip of your tongue. It's more the end of it, the Kiori, and it's this kind of this magic that swirls and is a manifestation of dreams and nightmares, almost like it picks up on everything. It's like a feeder on dreams. It's not a Dalcure itself, but you will know it can also disguise itself as someone else. That is something you will know for it. The telling tale is the eyes. It's like whatever light is shining through. And you also see this thing behind it. As Master Finnick is being dragged through this, you see a around 7 foot tall, this, you have to blink a few times as you see it, because at first it looks like a tiger, but it stands like a man or a woman or anything like that, and it is in full armor with this sort of blazing red and fire swirling around it.
Oh, no.
Through the armor itself, sort of blazing eyes as it reaches out to this thing, wanting Elder Finnick. What would you like to do?
Burn it with fire. That's pretty much my only plan so far, just so we're clear.
I feel like burning it with fire would be like a bull in a china shop. We are
Well-
surrounded by very flammable pieces of paper.
That's why it's such a good idea. It's more likely something will happen to this creature. It's great.
Also, Basalt's done this before in a library. So, at the very first episode.
Okay.
So.
It's very
Who am
true. I
to-
mean, everybody's concerned about Cinnamon, but Basil's the actual threat. It's great.
Yeah. Now you
Who am
both
I to
do
doubt the
it.
wisdom of the half orc?
I'm gonna pull out my rapier and my dagger and just run towards it.
Could you, I will let you choose acrobatics or athletics. You've just got to describe how you do it.
All right. So I'm gonna do acrobatics, and I think she just very nimbly just leaps over all of these fallen bookshelves, kind of like landing on, like one flat book and just hopping over it as she goes.
Awesome.
So let's see. Acrobatics. Come on.
Oh, you make this
26.
look like
Oh my
Legolas. Like you, as one of the bookcases is falling, you're running up it to jump onto the next one. You sort of hop as you free run here and there. No sort of like any bookcase, anything that's falling over doesn't stop you. You're sort of swiping the papers out of the air as you go running towards it. Basil, what are you doing?
I wasn't joking about that setting it on fire thing. So how far away is this thing right now?
It's torn off. You'd have to run after it to get towards it. I've also just realized I'm making Basalt run again.
Is it more than 60 feet away from me?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
hang
that's
on.
less
Wait.
fun.
No, it's not. It's not.
Because I can create a 30-foot long line of fire 30 feet away from me, and that seems like it may be merited in this case.
Absolutely.
How many things can I set on fire with a 30-foot line of fire out of our target things?
I mean, I'll say because Cinnamon rolled in that 20, she won't get hit by it. And won't touch anything flammable herself as she nimbly moves. So this is more... There's a lot of scrolls here. There's also a lot of wooden shelves. The walls themselves and everything else is stone, including the floor, so it's not like you'd set anything like that alight. There's a lot of paper in this room.
Can I get the grabby thing and the very tall tiger thing? Like in one shot?
Yeah, I think you could, because the grabby thing is running towards the tiger thing.
Right. That's all I need, is I need those 2 points of a line.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to do that.
Absolutely. So you do that, and in fact, everyone roll initiative, and we will start initiative as soon as Basalt has done that.
So fun.
Let's do it. Let's have a look.
Initiative is not up. Wait, can I? There we go.
There you go.
Well then.
20. All right then.
Right, okay. Okay. So, Basalt, you can let... if you could roll for me for that fire.
So
It
it's
hits
a
these
Dex
two
14 save for the 2 things in question.
Okay, so let's do the tiger first. Da-da-da. Dirty 20 on that one, and then Dex on this one.
The grabby thing.
8.
Hey, that's something. Okay,
Fabulous.
so I get 19 damage to the grabby thing and half of that to the tiger thing.
Half of that to tiger thing. Awesome. I've actually put down grabby thing and tiger thing on my page. So as you do that, describe what it looks like as Basalt sort of does this, because you will probably ignite everything in your path as well.
Okay, so in my mind, Cinnamon goes bolting down the aisleway with the dagger and the rapier drawn. Basil looks for just a second and just like throws a big line of fire instead and just like ignites it going in both directions at the same time.
Yeah, you just throw this line of fire, and Cinnamon, as you're running and you're jumping, you see these flames lick up past you. Like those lines of fire when the DeLorean hits 88 miles an hour, as they sort of like streak up. And Cinnamon in particular, you see everything sort of spark and woof. Just that line, but the fire catches, and you see it strike this Dalkior sort of creature as it screeches. It's almost like a whale comes out of this creature, and that blue light flashes very, very brightly. You can hear somewhere Elder Finnick going, "The books!" as he sort of like disappears over the side, and this tiger, this sort of in this large sort of armor, hits him at the back, and you see him sort of the fire sort of takes through him and starts burning it red hot. And as he turns round, there is flame in his own hand and a very large sword, which is currently letting off this grey smoke, these sort of almost in red letters down the side of this sword starting to glow, and the lines where the tiger's sort of markings are now burning a magma yellow along with his eyes as he sort of holds on to Elder Finnick. So, it is our Warforged turn. Nui, what are you doing?
Alright, so Elder Finnick is still in the hands of the weird grabby thingy, yes?
No, he's now in the hands of the tiger.
Oh. Alright, well, Nui is going to kind of draw his sword and shield. And he's going to kind of rush towards the creature, kind of just going...
Unhand the old man, you monster.
Before going in for the attack. Probably slicing at one of the legs.
Awesome. Roll the attack roll for me. Sorry, this was at the tiger, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that
If you hover down by your weapons, if you can see, you can click on your weapon, it'll roll for you.
That's my shield. Sorry.
No, you're good. Hang on, let's see. Let's have a look at your character sheet as I draw. There it is. Okay. Okay, so you can see where it says short sword?
There we go.
Let's have a look.
I think that was it.
Yep, no, that's it. It doesn't hit, but it's more because as you come swinging up, you sort of charge towards the thing, and you take the full attention as this tiger turns to you almost in alarm as you've come charging forwards. The short sword comes down, but he lifts up his leg, and that armor just catches by where his knee and thigh is as he sort of just glances your blade off of it and turns round. It is Cinnamon's go, and Cinnamon, you are running. You are Legolasing this. You are heading in his direction.
It's all focused on me, Cinnamon. You can do what you need to do now.
I'm also not feeling great about running towards the scary tiger guy, but so she is going to attack first with her rapier at the tiger thing and yell, "Hey, he's the only guy that can read this journal!"
And
right.
As you do that, this thing turns and just snarls towards you.
That's my rapier attack.
That's a hit.
All right, so that's 12 damage, and then as my bonus action, I'm going to use my offhand to strike with my dagger.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that does not hit.
The 9 does not hit, though. Okay. But you sort of, well, describe what it looks like as you hit. You kind of take this tiger by surprise as he was focused on the Warforged. And you're running over bookcases.
Yeah, so she probably leaps over a bookcase and kind of just brings her rapier down, probably onto one of the shoulders of the tiger thing, and then hits and very excitedly tries to then follow with her dagger, but like misses by a mile, unfortunately, because she's trying also not to hit Elder Finnick.
Yeah, he sort of swirls around with Elder Finnick, and you see it at the last minute, and you sort of then glance the dagger off of like part of the plate that is covering the shoulder of this tiger. But as you sink that rapier in, he sort of throws his head back, and there's a distinct roar from this creature. And it echoes throughout this hall. Okay. It is Basil's turn.
Right. Well, fire does not seem to be going really well, so I am left with only one option.
Fire did do a lot of damage, I will say. It did do damage.
Well, two books, right? I don't know. Did it
Oh, no,
look like
you
the
did-
tiger really minded?
Oh no, the tiger was mad. He just happens to be flamey too.
Okay, all right. I was taking that as a sign that perhaps he was just going to continue being on fire and not mind at all.
He's not on fire, like he's glowy, and he can project fire, but you can't see. He does look damaged and singed.
Okay. You're making me feel much better about my turn. Thank you.
It's very good.
Either way, Basil's going to take what, like 5 turns to get anywhere near this guy. So I will hobble forward, and as Basil is doing that, just like taking his time, I will just do a 3 scorching rays at this guy.
Go for it.
So please pardon me as I spam the scorching ray button.
Whew. Nope. Whew. Yeah, roll the damage for me on the 22 and the 25, please.
Yep. It's so small.
Yes. Okay. You what does it look like as you're sort of hobbling forward? Are you like hobbling and throwing the fire at the same time, or?
Basil has this down to a science. This is one thing he has done a lot of. So he's just got the stick in one hand and he's just throwing fireball after fireball with the other hand as he does that.
Yeah, as you can hear that clank and you're going forwards and you're throwing it, and it's as it hits him each time, you can hear that sear as it does. And Dragonborn, it is your turn. What are you doing?
How much? Okay, first question. How far away am I?
You can be up quite close. You're about 30 to 20 feet. We'll say
Okay.
20 because everyone else is moving up.
Okay, so I'm probably just going to grab my bow off of my back, and that tiger thing does not look very friendly, so I'm going to try and make it
Well past that.
stop hurting people.
Okay.
So, there we go. Well,
That just misses.
hmm.
So you sort of almost like as you fire this short bow off, and that arrow runs true. Like you can hear it whistling as it goes past, and it jams in one of the wooden desks very close to the tiger. And even Elder Finnick, who currently has a hand over his mouth, is looking at you like, because it's like just past him, like, as he sort of like yells in your direction. Is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
Okay. And then the wisp of this like magic, the glow at the moment, seems to be panicking. It was sort of thrown off focus from the first attack, but the tiger lashes forwards towards Cinnamon, as Cinnamon has just sunk a blade into it. So let's have a look. It rolls a 3, and technically it rolls a nat 1. So, as it does, I will say that where you sunk this blade into it, as you withdraw it at this moment, as it's trying to reach, you're withdrawing your own blade, Cinnamon, as it is bringing its own sword up, and that pain as it comes out, he drops Elder Finnick. And you just hear this oof, as he sort of drops on the floor and starts to try, like, shuffle away behind some of the bookcases. It is Newey's go.
I'm gonna go rush towards Elder Fennec and kind of lull him to safety.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Could you roll me? Are you like picking him up and running, or?
Yeah, I'd say I'm picking him up and running.
Okay, so the tiger gets an attack on you for running, but could you also roll me an athletics to get away, please?
22.
1d plus 2. 21. Okay, so it hits, and as you definitely get away, but as you are doing that, hang on, let's see. Okay, so it only does 4 damage, but as you do, you feel like this heat almost at your back as this blade, almost in a desperate swipe, comes sort of slicing through your back, just piercing that tiny bit of metal, and you hear a sear, like when metal gets very, very hot and you can see smoke erupting, but you can dash in the opposite direction. Elder Phoenix is flung over your shoulder as you head back. Cinnamon, it is your turn.
Wait, was I able to grab him, or was I?
Oh no, yeah, you've got him. You've grabbed him and you've run.
It's time to leave, my friend.
Is anyone still standing next to the tiger guy?
You've got Basil approaching very quickly, and also Rinathiel is kind of close, not like right next to, but
Okay.
is this for sneak attack?
Correct.
Okay, I would say Basil is close enough to get there because he's walking and throwing.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to do the exact same thing now that Elder Finnick is out of the way. Hopefully both attacks will land. So here goes my rapier, which is a 12, which I'm assuming
just
does
misses.
not hit. And with my offhand, I'll be hitting with the dagger, which unfortunately also misses.
As you do this, he's turned round and you bring down both blades and they clank on his armor. And at that point, you sort of realize that you look up and he is looking down at you, and you see these sort of long teeth. And within, like the back of his mouth, like his throat, you can see that magma, sort of that bright light as it's starting to radiate yellow. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Cinnamon. Nice to meet you.
And he just throws this roar in your face inches away. You feel your hair sort of blow back as he sort of raises this sword. And Basil, it is your turn, and you can see Cinnamon is now right up close to this thing, and it is in her face.
Yeah, there's just so many questions of what this thing will be bad at that I'm trying to answer in my head. I want it to be bad at something, and I don't think I'm going to shoot him down in one shot. So I'm going to use up my last level 2 spell and try a Maximilian's Earthen Grasp and have a big hand pop out of the ground and grab this thing, hopefully by like the sword arm, so that it can't swing at Cinnamon.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So it has to make a strength saving throw.
Strength.
It's a 14.
Yeah, this huge hand comes out of the earth. It does come out and it grabs, and it, as this sword is trying to come down, this hand locks it in place. And as it does, it sort of turns and looks at it angrily before just smashing through the rock itself as it falls to the ground.
Can I use my movement to try to get in front of Cinnamon?
Yes.
Okay,
If you roll me,
I'm
in fact, no, you don't need to roll me for that.
No,
So
go for
yeah,
it,
you
go
can
for it.
get, I would say you can roll an athletics or acrobatics, whichever one you prefer, to get in front, as long as you describe how.
I may need a ruling from Scrat here, but I believe that Trooper just gave me or gifted me a natural 20, which I would like to use for this.
Yes. Describe what it looks like.
Ta-da! It looks like Basil making a desperate lunge when he realizes the spell isn't going to work, where he just kind of like throws himself in front of Cinnamon so that if there is a sword strike here, he's going to get struck.
Okay. Awesome. And we are now going to hop to our Dragonborn, who you are closing in. You're almost just as close as Basil and Cinnamon, but they are like almost pressed up against it. You're in melee range, but they are like, aye.
So I'm going to try and get to the side of it, more or less, so that I'm not directly in line with anyone except him. And then I'm just going to open my mouth and blast a wave, a cone of cold directly out and over this fellow.
Heck yeah.
DC's. I gotta do a DC save. I'm actually rolling bizarrely well tonight. Yeah, sorry.
Well, so that's half damage.
Half damage. He's not looking like well, but he is still up, and if anything, you can see where his hand is and where his feet are, that frost starts to creep in as if it's slowly working its way up this creature. And it is the tiger's go. And it is attacking. Well, it was attacking. Cinnamon is gone for Basil. Oh my god. The others can attest, I never roll this well. Ever.
Okay,
and
makes him a big, mean, bad guy.
Yeah. Okay, so 1d8 plus 2. So, Basil, you take 9 damage as this blade comes down, and it cuts sort of across your shoulder more than anything, and down onto your upper arm, and you sort of fall back into Cinnamon. You don't both fall over. If anything, Cinnamon can keep you upright, but it's almost like it cuts across you, but seals it up almost just as quickly. But this burns. This is hot, and you can see smoke erupting off of your clothes at the same time. You're not on fire or anything like that, but you can feel that heat. It's almost very familiar to you, but there's like that sting along with it. It is our Warforged turn, and our Warforged is legging it. Finnick is, Elder Finnick is sort of flailing a little bit as you charge down the corridor to get him away. What would you like to do?
So back where the entrance is, where with the contraption, he kind of puts Fennec down, slams his mechanical fist into the machine, and opens the door. And he's just like,
"It's not safe for you here. You should go and get help. The guard, something.
It's like, what about you?
We'll be fine. I was born for this."
Meet back at the top?
You got it.
Okay.
Just hurry.
I'll
Stay safe.
see if I can find Mrs. McCree. And he starts running up the steps as fast as he can. And that will have to be your move if you're then turning back.
yeah, I'm turning back. He's just like,
Alright, let's get this sorted.
Awesome. And you start charging back through those corridors. And it is Cinnamon's turn. And Cinnamon, you've just felt the weight of Basalt almost fall back on you. You're both upright. But Basalt has just thrown himself in to take this blade effectively instead of you.
Thanks, I owe you one. And I'm gonna just shove him out of the way so that he's no longer in like the line of direct sword attack of this tiger. And I'm gonna do the same thing. There's not very much that she does. So rapier and dagger, let's go. It's the rapier. Ooh, 21.
21.
All right. And I'm then gonna attack with the dagger. And this is without
that is a hit.
attack.
14 is a hit.
All right, and that's 5 more damage.
Oh, he's looking bad. He sort of falls to his knees, and you can hear that raspy sort of as he's trying to sort of catch his breath, and that sort of that almost magma like sort of swirl, and you do notice it's starting to build. You can see him almost like he's brightening, and you see this orb, this almost fire in his hand, start to swell and grow and start to shake as it gets bigger and bigger. Basil, it is your turn. You have just been flung.
Yeah, well, I'm still kind of nearby, and it doesn't take much for Basil. He's got some range. So Basil just kind of like rights himself facing towards the creature and says, "Cinnamon, if you can run, you should run now. I'll take care of this. This should be fine." And I'm going to do a hunter's mark, because I have not done that. And you never know, we might have to find this guy someday. And then throw a firebolt. So let's see if I can roll a firebolt attack. And Basil just flings one ball of fire in the direction of this creature.
That does not hit.
It makes him sad.
It's as you're sort of almost that you've just taken the hit, you've sort of slumped back a little bit, and it throws you throw your hand of fire towards it, and it's sort of now starting to walk towards both of you, And using this orb, it kind of, you watch it deflect your flame before swirling it back and absorbing it into this orb in its own hand. Runathiel, it is your turn.
Well, close enough that I'm just going to pull my rapier out and try and get under this guy's armor.
Okay.
Try this time.
Get beneath the skin.
Exactly 14. Yeah, that hits.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome, Raiders.
Oh, that's a nice...
There's a nice hit. Right, so...
Leave them the hell alone!
How would you like to finish this creature?
Probably just putting the rapier up under his arm, like under the arm with the fire, to try and, like, I'm trying to spin him around towards me instead of the other two, who are much smaller than me, I think. Because almost everyone's smaller than me.
Okay. So as you do, you sort of find that one gap and you see it and you dig the blade in and use it almost like as a leverage to spin it round, and you hear that roar and that cry as this thing throws its head back. And as you do, you see this orb almost roll and drop from its hand. And it is still growing and getting bigger. And it looks like it's going to effectively explode, whether he's alive or not. But this thing falls down on his knees, and there's that thud on the floor. And this blue sort of wisp that you saw earlier is sort of hovering around this orb as it slowly absorbs itself into it. And almost like that static blue starts to fizzle. Nui, you'll sort of come skidding into the scene as you watch Runathiel withdraw his blade, and this tiger falls, but you see this orb-like thing on the floor.
Do I know what like the damage radius it can produce?
Roll a history or arcana check.
History, because I'm good at that stuff.
Yeah, nat 20.
23!
You want to get the hell out of these underground tunnels.
Okay, I kind of just shout out.
Alright, it's time to go. Move it!
And what do the rest of you do as you are now out of initiative? But this thing is growing and it is getting hotter and brighter.
I'm going to run slight detour to grab that big scroll we picked up earlier that looked really important, and then just hoof it. Actually, yeah, just hoof it.
I'm gonna help.
It.
I'm gonna help Basalt up
Dragonborn have these days.
and take him with me, and try and also pick up my journal before I leave.
Yeah, you can easily grab the journal. Could you all roll me either an athletics or acrobatics check, please?
Sure thing. 5. We went from the top to the bottom.
Oof.
See, I was good at something once, but...
That's normally how D&D works. You're good at something, and then your next roll is complete and utter trash.
And as this happens, you see this orb start to grow and expand. And Cinnamon, you and Basalt especially, you sort of help Basalt. Maybe you put your shoulder underneath his arm, and you sort of manage to move you both swiftly over the sort of the debris and the mess of like wood and paper here, where the flames are still sort of starting to catch, and it looks like they're being drawn into this orb. As you run, you bolt out of there as you do. And Runathiel and Nui, could you roll me one more acrobatics or athletics check, please, to get out?
10.
That's half better.
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh, good.
So, as this happens, Cinnamon and Basalt, you get to the main stairwell, and you go charging up. You manage to sort of hobble all your way up, and Nui, you sort of run through just behind as you hear that explosion as that orb explodes. And this wave of heat comes racing after you, and you're sprinting as these flames start to engulf the tunnels behind you. And as you do, you reach those gates at the last second as you dive out and head up the stairs. But, Runathiel, I need you to make 2 checks for me. Could you make me an athletics and a sleight of hand check, please?
Right.
My fingers are crossed.
One of these rolls. Wow. I have.
Oh, come on, that's a glitch. There's a moment as this, you pause for a moment as that flame comes towards you, and you hold onto that scroll, and you fall back into the Howling River stream. As you fall in, and you watch that fire go over you, the water protecting you, but you fall into this water, and the flames lick across the surface. And as you fall deeper and deeper, there's this flash of light, and almost this swirl of color opens up, and you see a hand reach through, grab you by the collar, and as that flame, as the water starts to boil and get hot, you are pulled through this portal.
That's concerning.
The rest of you, you are out of initiative. And you stand at the top, and there is, for a moment, no Elder Finnick to be seen. And a moment of panic where the people seem to be running from the library as there's this rumble beneath the ground as that floor closes up, and you see that lick of flame sort of try to break through, but it's still shut, and that black smoke comes up. And then a portal suddenly spins and turns and opens. And Runathiel, passed out, is thrown through it, soaking wet. And Elder Finnick steps out after him, also soaking wet, as he's wringing out his little ear caps, his little knitted ear caps, and putting them back on, and sort of shakes off a little bit. He's like, well, that was rather exciting.
Thanks for that, Chris. Okay.
Dragon Ball, Runathiel, I call you, is Rooney your name? Can I call you, how are you doing? And he sort of looks down at Runathiel. How is Runathiel doing?
Just hacking up water, basically, because he has no damn clue how to swim. And just rolling over, going, thank you?
You'd think
What?
Think that a dragonborn with ice abilities would be more adept at swimming.
Never really come up before.
And Elder Finnick looks at you and like, oh, thank you for grabbing my scroll, by the way. I'm going to get into a lot of trouble for the rest of the stuff.
Thank you for grabbing me.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. We should probably leave the library. And he sort of looks around, and you can see the smoke coming up from the floor. He's like, follow me to the back door. And he sort of shuffles out. And this very small door, nowhere near as grand as the one that you came in, as he throws it open. And he's sort of still wringing himself out. You can see some people running in with buckets of water. It's like, it's in there. As they also go, you can see a lot of these halflings go tearing in with buckets of water as they do. But he stands out in the open, and you can see there's 3 bridges that run back onto the mainland from this point. And he's like, right, okay, thank you for helping me. I think I'm going to be in a lot of trouble with Miss McCree later, but that's a problem for another day. You wanted... Hang on. Oh, you've got... And he sort of takes the map off you, Runathea, and holds it out towards Cinnamon and Basil. Like, you're going to want to follow this. And it should take you to where you want to go.
Thank you. Don't we need a library card?
Not when there isn't a library left, you don't. I feel it's a special occasion.
Oh.
Really just the
There's
one
at least half
section,
of the
isn't it?
library left, but
Well, put it this way. Currently, everything is considered destroyed down there, so I think if one doesn't quite pop up again, then I don't think they're going to notice.
Good point. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm sorry about your library.
Oh, I'll get it back up and running. You know, I just need to lay low for a little bit. As he sort of looks out over the river. Am I right in thinking an elderly orc from the ethereal plane sent you here? I recognize those rings.
Yes, Moira. Mm-hmm.
And he smiles. Look after those rings. And he looks over at Basalt. That one's mine, once.
Thank you.
And he smiles. You're going to need, a ride if you want to catch the island as it glides over the cities. And he whistles a very long whistle. And one of those very similar portals opens again. And through it, this horse sort of gallops through and comes to a halt. Its mane is blue. All of the whole horse itself is this mixture of dark and light blues, almost like a starry sky. White sort of dots sort of down the neck and across its belly. And it sort of flips its mane back. I'll let you borrow him.
Nui is very fascinated by the horse.
Very intelligent creatures, as he sort of walks towards and sort of puts a hand on the back of this horse's mane and sort of they touch foreheads for a moment and you can see a smile. Look after him for me, please.
You've been very generous.
This is a Valinor steed. They know how to ride between the plains.
What's his name?
I just call him Valinor. Or Vaili for short.
I like Bailey.
I like Vaili. As he sort of looks over at this horse that sort of snorts and sort of shakes its head about. And then... Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say Basalt after you.
We'll now ride the horse. Hello, Vaili. It's nice to meet you.
It sort of nods. It almost like bows to you. It's like it sort of tips it. It sort of bends its leg and sort of nods in your direction.
Basil, of course, has to bow back to the horse and then will attempt the riding of a horse.
It seems very easy. It's almost like this is the easiest time you've ever got on a horse, almost if it takes no effort at all, and you almost feel like you're stepping on air to get onto its back.
Cinnamon, this is much easier than a dinosaur.
I'm sorry, what? A dinosaur?
Yes, this is much easier.
That's how we got here. We rode dinosaurs.
You two have a very interesting life, don't you?
If Nui could express confusion, he would, but like he's just got this blank face, so he can't, but he's very confused.
Yeah, well, ever since this cult thing, it's been pretty interesting.
And he's like, oh, yes, come here.
Yes?
And he, as I roll something, he puts his hand, he's like, may I take your hand? Young lady.
Sure.
Okay. And he holds, he rests your hand in his and then puts his on top of yours and starts to slide it back. And you feel almost like a coolness as the imprint doesn't fully fade, but it is very light now. They shouldn't be able to track you anymore.
Who is tracking me?
And he sort of looks, he's like, Sulkatesh, the thing we were talking about earlier.
Oh.
This is what happens when you join cults. Okay, I suggest you find a way to get out of this one and don't get into another.
I didn't join it on purpose.
Still, maybe be a little bit more aware. Just you know.
All right, I promise I won't join another cult on purpose.
Okay. And he sort of offers his hand to you towards the horse that Basalt is currently sat on.
Yeah, I'll get on behind Basalt.
And he sort of smiles up at you. Good luck. And the horse almost immediately gallops into motion. And Nui and Runethiel, you watch them gallop across this bridge as they start to disappear as they go. And he Elder Finnick turns to the both of you and goes, right, so you like nature and stuff, right? As he looks over at Nui first. Okay, and you look as though you could use a bit of a rest, you know, something not quite here.
Yeah, it's been quite a time.
Okay, then I'm thinking I'm going to go back to my my family home if you would like to join me, because I would like to lay low for the next few days. If you wish to accompany me.
We would be honored to.
Certainly.
Fantastic. And that portal that's still there, he steps halfway through it. Coming?
Yes.
He kind of watches as Cinnamon and Basalt kind of ride off into the whatever time it is, and he kind of just...
Of all the people that I've encountered, I think they might be the strangest so far.
And you see Elder Finnick go, oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. And he steps through the portal.
He steps along with just, okay.
How about Runethiel?
Oh, just coming along, still dripping.
Yeah, he sort of pokes his head back out and holds a hand. I was like, would you like a hand?
Yes. Just
fantastic. And as he pulls you through, the last words he says just, how do you feel about the Feywild? As it closes behind you. And I think that is where we will leave this Eberron one shot this evening. Fantastic, everyone. Thank you. So what we will do is we will go round and say hello to everyone again like we did at the beginning. But this time we would love to hear your favorite part. And this time we'll go backwards because that's how we do it. And we're going to start with the lovely Faye. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, everyone, for being at this game. It was lovely and very fun. I'm Faye, or Captain Faye Guy on Twitter. I play Cinnamon, and I think my favorite part of today's episode definitely was the ending of this tiger thing, which I wish that we had rolled better on our history check so that we actually knew what it was called. But Runethiel definitely just finishing it right off and then immediately getting blown backwards into the river.
The imagery.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And speaking of Runethiel, oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I am Kamades, and thank you very much for having me. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, my favorite part was the fact that I didn't die, because I was very certain that Runethiel was very dead.
Crossing our fingers and hoping that you didn't die.
I loved it. I loved it. Thank you. And then we're going to hop over to Silvershade. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm Silvershade54, Silvershade54 on Twitter, SFM artist, aspiring voice actor. I'd have to say that my favorite part was, I guess, Nui showing some initiative in protecting the old man. As I was saying in chat, he protect, he attack, but also he robotic.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was very nice to play. I hope to do it again sometime. It was very fun. I hope you guys will have me at some point.
Absolutely. Love it. Last but certainly not least, the very lovely Hans. Oh, hi.
Hello, I'm Hans. I will go back to not being lovely anymore after this stream, but for now it's been nice. What a great game. So much fun playing with everybody, and just so much fun stuff. I think my favorite part was actually the beginning. I like the idea of the director of the library having a wife who unloads day old noodles on him that the Dragonborn was going to eat without question, and the Warforged just followed along with, knowing he had no plans to eat the noodles.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
That's what Nui does. Nui kind of just follows.
Fantastic.
Friendship.
Friendship. Wonderful. Thank you. I'm White Rabbit Pick. That is where you can find me on all the interwebs, as well as over on Gilding Light and Tales from the Grim. Otherwise, please check out all the links coming up in chat now. That includes, yes, Hans?
Alice is a Patreon. Everybody should go check it out.
Damn it!
Is
I
photo
forgot
rated.
it. I forgot it again. I've been getting so good at it. Like, I literally put a post up there to launch tomorrow, and I still forgot.
I thought you were just letting me do your lead into it, and you were about to.
I wasn't. I've been really trying to remember. Yeah, I have a Patreon, and the photos are going up next in the next 2 days. So yay! Otherwise, please check those out. Please go check out the Discord. We have a channel just for this game, and we'd love to hear what you think about it. If you've missed any of the other games or any of the other shows in general, you can head over to YouTube and catch up on all of them in all the playlists. Also, if you want to get into a viewer game, go and drop Scrat a DM on Twitter and we will get you a viewer game. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Maychan Press. Check out their Dark Matter. If you love D&D and you love space, you smush them together. It's all D&D 5e compatible, so you can pick up your little fancy party and yeet them into space. You can do both. It's a wonderful thing. Also, check out their Feyfolio, which was the game before this. The Deck of Many, with their new Kickstarter coming out in May, which keep an eye out. There's some amazing things going on there. And also their Humble Wood, which is woodland critters, which you can catch tomorrow as one of our viewer games. We also have the wonderful Hero Forge with their printed colored minis with all the new textures. And check out Scrat and I as we run through their beta every Wednesday at 2 p.m. EDT. Yeah.
My profile pic in this stream was a Hero Forge colored mini.
Awesome. I love it.
So that's just an example of what you guys can see when you use it.
I love it. I love Hero Forge. Hero Forge is doing some really great stuff with textures, colors, everything. It's so good. And last but certainly not least, also Dungeon Fog for your map and note-taking needs. Every time you update something on the map, it updates it in the notes so you can keep track of everything. It is a wonderful thing, especially for planners like me. Otherwise, keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye!
Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone, I think it's time for us to go on a raid. That was the last stream of the day, so let's get ready, let's get hype. Let's go and take the love somewhere else. I really appreciate you all coming along today, and I think we're gonna go... Let's go and try and make some new ties today. Let's go and make some new ties. I'm gonna take you over to a community that we have not raided before. Okay, it's gonna be a new one. So come with me. They're currently doing some Sea of Thieves. They're doing some Sea of Thieves. So let's head across. And hey, they are affiliated, so we can start a hype train. Let's go and show them that Academy love. I'll see you across there. Keep on evoking emotions.